Hi, the Chicago Sun-Times recently did an editorial about why the Wisconsin's Foxconn deal is going to be a huge benefit to Chicago, but it is going to hurt Wisconsin. Now, I understand Wisconsin is, with tax cuts, going to be up around $6 billion in the beginning, and it will take a few decades, yes, decades, to recover that. However, the Sun-Times and its usual stupidity, which is why I haven't read the paper really since the 1980s, is really off the mark on a few things, and I'd like to point out why no one in this area can find the Sun-Times. I cannot find it outside of Illinois except for Hammond, Indiana, to be clear. The Chicago Tribune you can find all over the world, literally all over the world. You go to any airport, it's going to be in a vending machine or in the bookstores. Chicago Sun-Times, outside of Cook County, it's very hard to find. You still find it, like, say, DeKalb, Illinois. But outside of Illinois, forget the Sun-Times. Anyways, the first point is they're claiming a huge proportion of employees could be from Illinois, which it's possible there will be quite a few. However, the towns they're most likely to come from would be, say, Zion, Russell, Gurnee, Waukegan, Wadsworth, towns that are near or on the Wisconsin border. Chicago is roughly an hour and a half drive from downtown just to get to the Amazon plant in Kenosha. While I was living in Cicero, Illinois, which is roughly like 7 to 10 miles off Lake Michigan, but like going straight through Chicago. It's right on the west border of Chicago. And it took me, while I was working at Amazon the last two Christmases, roughly an hour and a half from leaving the house at 3 in the morning when there's no traffic. I also briefly worked at a beef plant in Kenosha, which is just off the expressway. And again, hour and a half when there's no traffic. You get to high peak time, it's easy a 2-hour drive. No one is going to want to do that 5 to 6 days a week, depending on overtime. And odds are there will be overtime. The reason I quit the beef plant was because excessive overtime. It would have been a nice job otherwise. But they wanted me to join a union, and after I'd been there for about a month and a half, they told me, well, not at the busy season starting. I can expect at least 7 months of 7 days a week, up to 14 hours a day. And I'm thinking, why am I paying union fees if I can't even get 1 day a week off? That's stupidity. So anyway, it's very unlikely they're going to have a huge percentage of people from Illinois. And even if they do get up to, say, 10% from Illinois, I was the only person at Amazon that was, from Chicago area. No one else, especially in the winter, was crazy enough to make that drive on a daily basis. Anyone that is foolish enough to make the travel as I did while trying to move out here to Wisconsin is either going to move out here to Wisconsin soon or quit the job. They will not be known for years on end. So no, Chicago Sun-Times, Chicago will not be reaping tax benefits from people working out here in Wisconsin and going back to Chicago for this job. Another thing that they addressed was people staying in the area. For some reason, the Chicago Sun-Times thinks that people, when they come here to visit from Taiwan, are going to be staying downtown and then traveling 2 hours minimum to get to the plant for inspections. Out here, as far as hotels and motels we have Comfort Inn, Doubletree, Value Inn, Country Inn, Super 8, Marriott, Days Inn, Quality Inn, plus a whole lot of other hotels and motels. Kenosha, and I'm mentioning Kenosha and Racine because it's not clear yet if it's going to be in Racine or Kenosha County. But downtown Kenosha, there is a 4-star hotel. Could not be more on the lake unless you built a pylon and put the hotel on top of the pylon. It is right there at the water's edge. I forget offhand if it's Marriott or whichever one, but it is one of the big name hotels. Hilton, perhaps. I'm obviously not a hotel person. I couldn't tell you. And that is just a few blocks from all kinds of great dining, shopping. There is several museums, cultural, art, a dinosaur museum. For those into paleontology, one of the oldest and most complete woolly mammoths found right there in Kenosha. Kaiser Pizza, right downtown. It's probably one of the best pizzas. As you can tell, I'm a big pizza eater. The only other pizza I've had that's even close to Kaiser would probably be the Rosati's in Darien, Illinois. I mean, it is excellent pizza. And 3 days of the week, it's not all you can eat like a buffet style where, they just put a whole bunch of, sausage pizzas out and you take slices. They make each pizza. You may have as many as you want for $5. So, I mean, as far as restaurants, bars, entertainment, whatever, Racine has a theater guild, Milwaukee has theater guilds. As far as culture, entertainment, hotels, there's no reason to be downtown Chicago and come up here for 2 hours for a 1 hour inspection and take another 2 hour drive back. That's, again, idiotic. And if anyone's going to be there for a long stay while they're examining the plant or setting things up, whatever, they're not going to do it on a daily basis. There's no need. Part of the reason they picked the area is because it has everything they want as far as land, employees, everything is there. There's no reason to travel to Chicago and back on a daily basis for anyone. As far as airlines go, yes, there is, if you want to drag Illinois into it, there's a Waukegan Airport, which is, I believe, a national airport. But Kenosha Airport, which is just off the I-94, the expressway, I have some notes here. I'm trying to look, not be too obvious as I look, but they have full and part-time maintenance technicians on staff at any time they're open. It's set up for corporate, freight, and general activity. Racine, which is roughly 2 miles off the lake on 3 Mile Road, around where I happen to be living right now, they have the John H. Batten Airport, which has corporate business and private. They also have a U.S. Customs port there on the airport, as well as a conference room. So if they're in Racine, there's no reason to go to Chicago whatsoever for air use. There's also, if they need international, General Mitchell International Airport in South Milwaukee, not south side of Milwaukee. South Milwaukee is actually a town called South Milwaukee. And they're just roughly a half hour here from Racine if it's in Racine County, or not too much farther if it's Kenosha. Because, Racine County, from where I am, I'm roughly in the middle of it as far as north and south goes. I can drive roughly 15, 20 minutes north or south, and I'm out of Racine County. Now, east-west, it's another story, but so as far as anything goes, as far as culture, museums, restaurants, places to stay, employees, they don't need Chicago. This is why you cannot find the Chicago sometimes outside of Illinois, except maybe Hammond, Indiana. You don't take the time just to figure any of this stuff out. You don't do research. You're very biased. We have a lot of good people here in Wisconsin. They're great people. They're friendly. They're polite. We have very low crime, very low pollution. Gas prices are way cheaper than out in Chicago. We have less sales tax. There are no sales taxes on grocery items unless it's something like, say, candy soda. That still gets taxed. But as far as anything that's considered healthy, like food, meat, milk, vegetables, fruit, no sales tax. The healthcare out here is incredible. Compared to where I was out in Cook County, I feel like I just moved out of a third world country. I've had to go to the hospital recently. And the way just the way they treat you as a human being, forget about the healthcare itself, just the way they treat you as a human at clinics, at hospitals, at doctor's office. It's so incredibly different than Cook County. And then the healthcare, it's so much better than anything I've ever had in Cook County in my 50 plus years. So, Chicago, sometimes you're way off the base. Foxconn does not need Chicago in any way, shape, or form, other than maybe as a customer base. You guys can buy our product, but we don't need you here in Wisconsin. So, thank you for watching. If you agree, disagree, please put it in the comments. And if you think these videos are worth supporting, I'm a patron, a 50-year-old gamer. Thank you.